Ferrari has finally revealed the SF-26 concept, and this is not just another new car launch. This is Ferrari's most important technical reset in over a decade. After years of near misses, internal pressure, and regulation swings that never fully played to their strengths, the SF-26 represents a deliberate break from the past. With Formula One entering its most radical rule change since 2014, Ferrari have chosen not to chase short-term spectacle, but to build a car that redefines how they approach performance, development, and long-term competitiveness. With Lewis Hamilton now in red and Charles Leclerc entering what many see as a defining phase of his career, the SF-26 is carrying more expectation than any Ferrari car in recent memory. And to understand why this concept is so significant, we need to look beyond the surface and into the philosophy behind it. If you want deep, no-nonsense F1 analysis like this all season long, make sure you subscribe to F1 Grid. The first thing that becomes clear when analyzing the SF-26 is that Ferrari are not chasing peak performance on day one. Instead, they've designed what internally is being treated as a highly controlled baseline platform. This is a calculated response to the 2026 regulations, which combine active aerodynamics, new power unit rules, sustainable fuels, and drastically different energy deployment requirements. Ferrari's engineers have prioritized aerodynamic stability, correlation accuracy, and a wide operating window over aggressive, fragile geometry. The cleaner bodywork, simplified front wing profiles, and conservative early aero balance all point to a car designed to gather high-quality data rather than chase headlines. This is Ferrari acknowledging that the first phase of 2026 will be about learning faster than rivals, not necessarily looking fastest in early testing.
If you want to stay ahead of every major Ferrari development and understand what really matters before anyone else, make sure you subscribe to F1 Grid, because this next part explains why Ferrari's SF-26 philosophy could quietly reshape the entire 2026 pecking order. One of the most overlooked aspects of Ferrari's approach is how aggressively they're preparing for aerodynamic correlation under the new active aero rules. Unlike the previous generation, where teams chased maximum floor load at all costs, the 2026 regulations punish instability more than outright drag. Ferrari appear to have designed the SF-26 to remain aerodynamically predictable as it transitions between low drag and high downforce modes, which is critical when drivers will be toggling aerodynamic states multiple times per lap. This becomes especially important when you consider how sensitive energy deployment will be in 2026. With the MGU-K now responsible for a much larger share of total power output, drivers will be forced to manage deployment, harvesting, and aero balance simultaneously. Ferrari's decision to prioritize smooth airflow structures and conservative pressure maps suggests they are designing a car that allows drivers to focus on execution rather than survival. That is a subtle but potentially decisive advantage over rivals who may arrive with more extreme concepts that only work within narrow operating windows.
Another key factor is Ferrari's internal development timeline. Sources close to the team have indicated that the SF-26 launch specification is deliberately understressed, allowing Ferrari to introduce aggressive updates once they fully understand how the car behaves across different circuits and conditions. This mirrors the approach Red Bull mastered during previous regulation cycles, where early restraint allowed for explosive mid-season performance gains. Ferrari appear to be betting that consistency and learning speed will outweigh early season lap time deficits. Aerodynamically, the SF-26 introduces several quietly aggressive ideas that reveal Ferrari's deeper intent. The outboard front wing pillar placement maximizes airflow into the floor, feeding the most critical performance area under the new rules. Rather than chasing extreme front wing load, Ferrari have opted for predictable pressure behavior, essential in an era where active aero modes will constantly shift the car between low drag and high downforce states. The brake duct architecture continues this philosophy, turning what was once a cooling component into a wake management device, using wheel well pressure to help seal airflow along the car's sides. Every surface on the SF-26 appears to serve multiple purposes, reinforcing Ferrari's move toward holistic aerodynamic efficiency rather than isolated gains.
Under the skin, the SF-26 may be even more revealing. Ferrari's shift to a multi-link front suspension is not about copying rivals, but about controlling pitch, dive, and ride height sensitivity under the new ground effect rules. With floors generating enormous loads and active aero changing balance mid-corner, platform control becomes everything. Ferrari are clearly designing the car to remain predictable across a wide range of speeds and modes, even if that means accepting extra complexity and weight early on. The floor itself reflects this thinking, with aggressive vortex sealing concepts designed to maintain suction without requiring dangerously low ride heights. Visible bracing and structural reinforcement show Ferrari choosing stability over aesthetic purity, ensuring the floor remains consistent at extreme speeds rather than flexing into aerodynamic failure. Cooling and packaging further underline Ferrari's long-term mindset. The larger-than-expected side pod volume and expansive rear cooling outlets are not signs of inefficiency, but insurance policies for the 2026 power unit era. With the MGU-K delivering up to 350 kilowatts and thermal loads far higher than anything Formula One has seen before, Ferrari are prioritizing reliability and sustained output over drag reduction in the opening specification. This allows the team to run the power unit closer to its limits without derating, while gathering crucial thermal data for future bodywork tightening. It's a conservative approach visually, but an aggressive one strategically, especially when reliability could decide championships under such complex new rules. The power unit itself is where Ferrari have taken their boldest risk. By reportedly moving away from conventional aluminum cylinder heads in favor of advanced steel alloys, Ferrari are betting on higher combustion pressures and efficiency rather than exploiting gray area loopholes used by rivals. Combined with the shift to fully sustainable fuel and the removal of the MGU-H, this represents a complete philosophical reboot rather than an evolution. Ferrari are not chasing clever workarounds. They are betting that their internal solution delivers a stronger, more controllable power curve over a season. Whether this gamble pays off will define not just the SF-26, but Ferrari's credibility in the new era.
Ultimately, the SF-26 is not designed to win hearts on launch day. It is designed to survive, adapt, and scale faster than anything Ferrari have built in recent years. This car represents discipline, restraint, and a willingness to sacrifice early spectacle for long-term dominance. But that also makes it Ferrari's biggest gamble. If the correlation is right and development follows the intended path, the SF-26 could become the foundation of a championship resurgence. If it doesn't, the questions surrounding Ferrari's direction will only grow louder. One thing is certain, this car is not playing it safe, it's playing for the future. And as the 2026 season approaches, Ferrari's entire legacy may ride on whether this calculated risk finally pays off. For more deep dive analysis like this, stay locked in and subscribe to F1 Grid.